so we have all committee members present.
All right, then I'll call this meeting of the Public Works Committee to order. We have a quorum since all 7 members of the committee are present. And our first item of business is the minutes of August 22nd.
This is Carrie. I'll move approval.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second to the motion?
Ramsey, a second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding the minutes? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the minutes of August 22nd are approved. Number 2, Deming Way reconstruction final plan approval.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted to look at anything in particular on the plans. I had a few notes. I would say they're not substantive. Roxanne is here if there are any specific questions. And then, of course, the committee longer ago, when we were looking at it just at a concept stage, asked for a professional traffic operations engineer to look at the overall concept. There were no surprises to that. So Roxanne's been moving forward with the plans and has in our packets here the final plans, subject to a few touch-ups and anything that the committee might recommend.
Any questions regarding the plan? Any comments? Anyone?
Or did you want to look at anything in there?
Might not hurt to look at the diagram of the plan.
Oops. Let me zoom out a bit here. All right. That gives us probably a fair overview for what's going on. So, you know, it's a matter of kind of taking a couple of those little parallel parking bays that are suitable for 2 or sometimes 3 cars and just straightening those out to get in more 45-degree angle parking. And actually, let me go to a more proposed plan instead. Sorry, I think I gave you the wrong thing. Yeah, so it looks more like that right now, where there are little parallel parking bays with some landscape areas that you see in yellow. And then by the time we get to proposed, that's straightened out and the landscape areas are still there, just in a different configuration and shape. There are some protective curbs, you know, marked out so cars don't just go driving into you know, the parallel parking spots. They're routed around them. So there are left turn lanes still preserved at both of the driveways that go off to the side. Everything, I would say, is a little bit tight, but it's also pretty slow going through there, and people know it's pretty slow going through there. So that's where the traffic operations folks said, on balance, you know, they don't see any safety problem with that.
How many parking spaces does this design add overall?
Oh boy,
Former.
probably on the tip of your tongue, huh, Roxanne? The net gain.
Yeah, I'm looking that up right now. I think the existing stall count is 13 and the proposed is 39.
Nice.
Okay.
How many of those are accessible?
2,
Handicap? Just 2?
1 on each side.
Yeah, there's one here,
Okay.
kind of near the island, and then the other one's here, near the ramp to get up onto the sidewalk.
Okay.
Is that the same number that there is now?
There are none now.
There are none now. Does this appreciably change the impervious surface at all?
We have more green space.
Yeah.
You have more green space? Okay.
Is there a bus route that goes through on Deming Way through the shopping center right there?
I think it goes on John Q. Hammond's just east of here.
Okay.
Only the tram goes through Deming Way.
Oh,
Yep.
the trolley from the
Yeah.
tourism. Gotcha. I didn't know
Is that
that.
still running?
I've seen it on and off.
for a
Hmm.
short period of time.
Yeah.
Well, this is Carrie. I'll move approval of the final plan drawings contingent upon resolution of staff review comments and then the city developer agreement.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second to Carrie's motion?
Don, I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, committee? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it and the motion is carried and the plan is approved.
All right.
Thank you.
And then next up is the companion piece to this, which is the city developer agreement, which is in effect just an agreement that the developer will finance that and get us what we normally get for this kind of thing, record drawings, whatnot. I don't think there was a whole heck of a lot left on this that needed to be touched up. So we have this substantial completion date. That's about the end of paving season most years.
So this will be done before the holiday shopping season? Is that the goal?
Well, it was set for November 20th at the worst, but that's about also the end of paving. So it happily coincides probably with the shopkeeper's desire. That yellow highlighting you just saw flash by was on me. Yeah, so really nothing in here needs amending yet. It just needs to be executed, I guess.
So this is Carrie. I'll move approval contingent upon items listed. Do you want me to list them, Sean, or do you want to just add those, like receipt of staff, final plan drawings, and satisfaction of city attorney?
Okay, yep, perfect.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second to Carrie's motion?
Is Carl, I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion with respect to the motion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it and the developer agreement is approved.
Yeah, we'll get that off to the finance committee and common council then for action. All right.
Okay,
Did you have any questions, Roxanne, for me or the committee on this?
No,
this topic?
Just
Okay.
thanks for expediting it so he can get it done this year. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that'll be nice to be able to get it done this year.
Right,
Fingers crossed.
right. Okay, thank you.
All right, have a good night.
thank you.
Bye.
Well,
On the newsletter, Dave Sarbacher, our utility manager, I'm going to pop to a different version of this, actually had an idea this morning that we went ahead and added in here, figuring the committee would be in favor of it, which is to just let people know that our drinking water had been sampled by Wisconsin DNR for PFAS, and they didn't find anything, but he just wanted to get that word out. So we added a small article in here that's not in your packet article. I can blow this up and give you just a second to read it here maybe. But it just acknowledges that they did that sampling and directs people where to find more information.
I think that's a good addition. Again, I like the format of the newsletter and I think it has all of the essential elements in it here for the fall newsletter. And it's going to be out in a more timely fashion this time around, before leaf collection and brush collection starts and ends. And
Yeah, that didn't go so well last year, sorry.
Can you click on the Wisconsin DNR link just to see if that is working?
I did this morning and it worked, but
Okay.
these websites aren't configured exactly the way my screen sharing is going on right now.
That's the right site.
Yeah, it's got this PFAS public water supply thing, and then people would have to click into that and type in us to go
Okay.
get it. But it's at least the right place.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, and Sean, what would be the timing of getting this out, assuming it's approved here?
We can load this up immediately, basically. It just goes to our website. Now, that said, the person who knows how to push those buttons will be in training. So it'll be a little hit and miss if it's tomorrow or sometime this week anyway.
Be out before leaf collection starts in any event.
Yes. Yep.
All right, comments, committee? Questions?
I think it looks really good.
Yeah,
I did too.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm always trying to like zoom, like change what I'm looking that Sean's posting instead of looking at my own stuff. I don't know why I think I can do that. My only thought as I sat and worried about how much rain we got over the last 24 hours is that at some point, I don't know if there's any way to include information. It doesn't have, it's obviously not this time around, but just messaging about the improvements that have happened to our stormwater system and the things that we're doing and the plans and putting those all into one consolidated space so that people understand all the mitigation and all the improvements that have happened since the 2018 flood. So when we get 24 hours worth of rain, people don't panic like I did.
Well, and actually, we haven't done a whole heck of a lot of mitigation in terms of detention or I mean, we're putting stuff back together still.
Right. And maybe, so maybe that's why we need to start thinking in the future. It's just, obviously that's a plan in the future that we need to discuss, but as far as mitigation, but it's just as far as putting out some sort of public information on the reconstruction that's going on. I drove past the place over by the retention pond by Spectrum today and saw all the equipment that had been there and the stuff that they've done just recently. So I think having some communication around that, it doesn't have to be anytime soon. But even just a good messaging around the pump that went in over here on the
Tiedemann.
pond. Yeah, on Tiedemann.
that's a great idea, Kendra. I like that. Just basically saying like, here's what we've done since 2018. And then
Yeah.
here are some things maybe
That
planned.
we, yeah, or
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm just kind of throwing ideas out. The other thought that I had, given the stuff that's happened to people's drinking water supplies, given due to flooding and some of the pictures that came out of Chicago in the last 24 hours, just sort of getting ahead of alleviating any concerns that people might have of something similar happening here should another flood event. I mean, I shouldn't say should another flood event. It's sort of like when another flood
When
event.
or
Yeah.
where.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and I'm just putting that out there again. I don't think it has to happen anytime soon.
That was actually my first thought when I got a phone call early in the morning on a Tuesday 4 years ago, will we be able to drink water today?
Yeah.
And there was not a really good answer to that for several hours.
Yeah. And so I think we need to start talking, and I don't know, maybe that's a conversation that we can have, Sean, at some point, but just a preparedness plan that the city would have given that situation. If we are prepared and are ahead of it, we're better off. So, but also what made me think of it was the stormwater or the storm drain program. Because one of the streets in our neighborhood continuously floods in the fall because the storm drain gets full of leaves. So I think that's one way to sort of start that discussion and get people to talk about it is promoting that program, which I'm going to do in my neighborhood, I know, and through my district.
Unfortunately, this one kind of fell right on a page break, but yeah. I think too, that'd be, it's something we've sort of encouraged people, but this is an actual program now.
Yeah, and we talked about, I had a conversation at work about it with some colleagues too, and they're like, oh, I do that anyway, all the time. And I think it's just one of those things that some people do it and they naturally think of it, and some people it doesn't even cross their mind, so.
Right, yeah, I don't mind cleaning ours out, but it would never have occurred to me to take a picture of what I'm pulling off a storm grate, you know?
And to keep the idea that it's not just pulling off that, it's breaking up the ice when it forms, and, you know, because that's when we get the problem too, is in the winter.
Yeah, at least we know our really problem spots, so we can take a skid steer and go beat those up and get them to drain when it rains after freezing. But the more people can sort of keep them clear, the better off we are. I just know it's a lot in winter to sometimes clean up after our plows and then go like, oh, and I think I'll wander down the street and clean that up too.
That's true.
Well, just looking at this, is there any way that that last line in 2 words can be moved up to the other page? Be a little easier.
Maybe if we shuffle the order of some articles, we might be able to do that.
Not a big deal, but
Let me look into that then.
okay. All right, otherwise, I think the newsletter looks very good.
Well, I'll pass that along to Ellen Opitz, who put it together for us.
So you need, we need a motion here to approve it for posting or sending out?
Yeah, we typically do that. Mhm.
Okay. There's your cue, committee.
Ramsey will make that motion.
This is Wilkus, I'll second. Would
All right.
Ellen be open? I found a few typos and stuff. Would she be open to feedback as to typos?
Yep,
Okay, I'll send them.
cool, okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the newsletter as drafted with a couple of typos to be corrected. Any further discussion, committee? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and there's your fall newsletter. Okay,
All right,
Great.
that's the end of our agenda already. Let me go back to.
that's all right. We move right along.
That's all right.
This is Carrie. I'll move to adjourn.
This is Wilkus, I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we stand adjourned until whatever 2 weeks from now is.
Yeah, what is that, the 26th
26th of October? Okay,
of
September.
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 You almost cost me a month there, Bob. I'm gonna need that. All right, let me
All right.
record here.
Aye.